My message to teens is in large part a message I wish I would have heard when I was a teenager and struggling with depression. And that is that all the feelings you're having, this sadness, this despair, this sense of isolation and loneliness when there's tons of people around, all that is a messenger to you to tell you that something is wrong. It does not mean that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are perfectly imperfect. You're exactly what you should be, and your system is doing exactly what it should do. The emotions are telling you something is wrong. And I am so sorry that you're suffering. I am so sorry that you're hurting right now and that you've hit the limit of what you know to do to fix these feelings. They're messengers to tell you that you must connect. The way to find the answer is to reach outside of yourself. Please try one more thing, ask one more person, anything to keep trying to find whatever that answer is that's going to match up to you.
What would I want to tell teens about suicide? You know, there are people in schools that care. Mike Cross cares, okay? The janitor at Vandenberg cares. Marcia Welsh cares. You know, there are people in schools that care. Your parents, believe it or not, care. Okay? They might not seem like it sometimes. And sometimes, you know, the doing adult doesn't allow them to be there as much as they should sometimes, but they care. Okay. And I think it's important that you know that someone out there is really cares about you on a personal level. Okay. You might not see that.
You know, this world is a difficult place, and there's a lot of people who care about you and love you, and that you're going to blow it, and you're going to make mistakes, and we're going to forgive you, and we're going to move on. I think one of the biggest lies that's told to kids is that this is the best time of their life. And when people say that to them, I mean, could you imagine being young and thinking about committing suicide on a daily basis and being told that this is the best time of your life? I mean, Jesus, there's great parts of every stage in your life. And I think my life is better now than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever the case may be. I think we have to give them a sense of hope that it's going to be better. So I think the love part of it for me is probably the biggest part that I want them to understand. And I do think they need to know that us adults blow it a lot, and that we don't always recognize it, and we don't always give them the attention that they need. When you watch the parents on our prevention panel, I mean, it just crushes you. Our kids, when they watch that, they know that those parents love their kids and would do anything to have them back. You know, so that would be my biggest piece. Is just we love you, and love is hard. You know, it's not clean all the time.
I think my message, I'm trying not to get emotional because, like you said, I keep thinking of individual kids and what would I say to them. I think I've said it to a lot of kids. This moment in time does not define who you are. You know, your mistakes don't define who you are. Your 15 mistakes don't define who you are. You know, and I think for me, it's admitting that I don't know all the answers, but I will help you find them. You know, I don't have to know everything because I'm the adult either, but I'll help you.
If they're having thoughts of suicide, I'm just sorry terribly sorry that they're feeling such pain. And that there are people around them that love them deeply and dearly and who would love to help them overcome those obstacles so that they could once again work to help them overcome anything that's blocking them from feeling successful and loved and hope and happiness. And we would love to help you bounce back and be resilient and have the life you've dreamt about. So those people are there and they're out there. And I'd love to be one of those folks for you. For your friends that are next to you that you've probably talked to, I'd say to you, please don't be silent. If you're thinking that that's the best way to be a friend, let somebody else know that your friend is struggling. Let them know that your friend is exhibiting some high risk behaviors so that somebody could step in and help them. So that a couple days or weeks or months from now that we're not sitting here wondering what we could have done or should have done. So that together we can all have a brighter tomorrow as a community and a family. That's what I tell teens.
I would echo what Gabby said to you guys last weekend, that it's okay to not be okay.
My biggest thing is I just want them to know how final this is, you know, like how this affects everyone. How this will forever impact my life, Sam's dad's life, his sister's life, you know, his friends, his family. Whatever you're going through is just a bump in the road. And I always said it to Sam, like, this is just a bump. We're gonna get through it. Talk to me. This is just a bump, you know. Please seek help. If, you know, be open about it. Don't be quiet about it. Get help. Anyone is out there willing to help you. Your life is so worth it. I always, you know, talk to Sam about the future, about getting married, having kids, what he wanted to do for work. Just the thought of not seeing him grow up. Not seeing him graduate next year. Just daily struggle. And I just want these kids to know the famous phrase that my friend at Blaine High School, she's a choir teacher, and she's my daughter's very favorite teacher, and she's a friend of mine, and her famous phrase that she would say to the kids every day is, you are loved, you're enough. You're enough, and you're not alone. And I wish these kids could see that. That they are so loved and so needed in this world.
My biggest thing, I'm going to go to what I've seen in my life from not that I've seen everything in the world, but there's something there for you. There's so much opportunity to find your niche that my daughter always goes, "Theater are my people." She says that a lot. Your people are out there. It may take a challenge. It may take, they might be your family. They might be, nobody's connected, but they're out there. And always try to recognize that some people, it takes a little bit longer to find their people, to find their niche, but it's there. And have that hope and that focus, and also go a little deeper to see if you can uncover it, because you never know where you could find that niche. So that's kind of what I've learned through my years and the people I've dealt with. And
Well, I know that for me, the biggest thing is, if I could say something to my sister, she has missed out on so much. And she changed who I am, and in some ways, a really good way. But I think if she would have known what she did to my life and how there are aspects of it that she ruined and took away from me, I don't think she would have done it. And also, when I had children of my own that she has to miss out on too, that I had to re-mourn her as a mom, and no parent should ever have to bury their child. And I know that it happens. I've watched two aunts bury children, one from a car accident, one from a four-wheeler. But the difference with my mom was it could have been prevented.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't have to happen. I know every time I have ever felt like it's just too bad to carry on. I mean, I've made it this far, so I know that it's worth it. And I feel so sad for my sister because she has missed out on so much. And I'm angry at her. I'm fucking mad.
Yeah.
20 years later, and I'm still mad.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is help.
Yeah.
And I've gotten it in many different ways, shapes, and forms. And some ways were better than others, but I've gotten it. And if I can make it that far, I know she could have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not ashamed. So I wish that nobody would feel ashamed for having those feelings. And I've had some awful things said to me. I've been told that people that commit suicide are cowards, and but I'm still not ashamed. So I don't think anybody should for feeling that way.
I think about it in the aspect because I have a 15-year-old sister, and I've always told her that if she feels this way to come to me because I still struggle today with it. Like I deal with chronic suicidal thoughts, so they don't go away. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I have a hard time with it because it's like I've gone through it and I still struggle. So it's like hard to sit there and tell somebody that it's like I know it gets better, but it's hard to guide that because I still am at this point at 22 years old. I'm still dealing with it. Like my last attempt was in December. Like it's hard because I think about it I have so many perspectives with it, with me dealing with it, with losing people to it, with just looking at my sister's struggle. It's not necessarily the way I do, but it concerns me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because I still feel like I burden everybody with my problems. So I try to tell people that you're not a burden. Your feelings are totally valid because I can't validate my own feelings.
Yeah.
I can't. I never have been able to.
Yeah.
My therapist yells at me for that one. Not literally yells, but So it's just I have a hard time with it because I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Because it's yes, I know it gets better, but as somebody who deals with the chronic, it doesn't ever feel like it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Which is hard because it's I know it is. I've made it this far. I've been through a lot of shitty things, especially in the last couple of years, and I've made it this far, and I'm so grateful that my attempts haven't.
Right.
Because I get to watch her grow up. I get to watch my other siblings grow up. I get to, be with my grandparents. But because there are some days, even in my situation, and I think going through what I did, I still have a hard time reaching out. And I don't want anybody to get to that point where they're, in their 20s and still have a hard time reaching out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have that as a kid. I didn't have that as a teenager. So now it's asking for help is a foreign language.
It's so hard to say it, but you know, it is only temporary, and your life has just begun at that age. And, you always think that, the world, your life, you always feel that like your life can never be better than this, or, you're never, but it does, and it gets better. And as you learn more about yourself, you do learn those tools, and you can cope better with things, and you can pass messages along to youth and try to help them so that they're not, what we're doing here, I guess. If I could have a time capsule to talk to myself when I was 17, I would say to just hold on, and to reach out to somebody that you trust. If I did not have Mr. Howard, I would not be here, and I would not have my babies. And I thank God for them and for Mr. Howard, because I wouldn't be here. Life is just so precious.
Suicide is never the answer. I know it hurts. I know it's hard. But it will get better. Life always has a way of working itself out. It's not always fair, but it goes, and it gets better. There are people you can always talk to, people who care about you and love you, and it's truly terrible losing someone you care about, and then knowing that if you would talk to them, or they'd talk to you, would have probably fixed it. It's awful. No one wants you gone. Everyone wants you to stay.
I want you to know that it is okay to not be okay. Everyone is going through different things in their lives and handling them differently, but however you are feeling is completely 100% valid. And believe it or not, there are so many people that are feeling the exact same way, even though they might not be in the exact same situation. Know that there are people that you can talk to and outlets and resources that you can use to help you feel better about situations. Also, know that there are so many people that love and care about you so much. There's so many people that are so proud of where you are now and what got you to this point. I know I am. I'm so proud of you. And know that you're so much stronger than you think that you are. And keep going through life, because I know it's tough. Life is tough, and you just got to keep going. I believe in you, and so do so many other people. Just keep going and never give up.
Things may seem like they're falling apart right now, but they're falling apart to fall into place for the things that are in store for you.
It took me some time to think about really what I wanted to say to all of you, to leave a message, and it took me some time to kind of get my head around it. As a therapist for 20 years, I worked with so many teens and young adults, and honestly, even my adults. And one of the things that really stands out to me is that each and every one of them that even had suicidal feelings or had attempted or anything like that, never in the entire history of my practice did any of them ever come back and say that they were sorry that they stayed. And so one of the things that I think is really crucial is, if you're willing to kind of trust me for a minute, is to know that I have never seen someone sorry that they stayed. And so when you're feeling this bad, it's so hard to hear that, right? It's so hard to take in this idea that maybe something will be different. But I will assure you, in my history, everything that I have seen tells me that something can be very different than what it feels like right now. And really what it takes sometimes is some hope and some faith in other people to let them guide us and sit with us in this journey. That reaching out to one more resource, giving it a little bit more time. You only get one life, right? And it's why I love that idea of you only live once. And that is true. We only get one shot at doing this lifetime the way that we want. And sometimes we feel like we were dealt a lifetime that doesn't really suit anything about what we wanted or where we wanted to be. And one of my philosophies, well, I have two, but one is that we get the chance every single day to begin again. We get the chance every single day to start over. Every single time we wake up, we get a do-over. The second thing is that there are no accidents. So for anybody that's out there today that's feeling like they weren't meant to be here, I don't believe that. I think that every single person that's here on this planet was put here for a reason, you included. So you might not be feeling that. You might not be feeling like there's a reason why you'd stay. You might not be having any idea where you're going to go in your life or how it's going to look or feel different. But I will tell you that everyone that I have ever known or treated, both professionally and personally, have found that they were so grateful that they stayed and how different that their lives were from a point in time where they actually weren't sure they wanted to be here anymore. So I want to say that because I think that that's really important that people understand that. I'm going to say this. At 17, I had the hardest thing that ever happened to me in my life happen. And I remember feeling super on the outside of life. And nobody else had parents that were suicidal that I knew of. No one else had parents that were not at home because they were in jail. People didn't talk much about what I was going through with me. My family was in the newspaper. It was super embarrassing. And I didn't know what to do with it, you guys, and all I remember is feeling kind of like the world was coming to an end. And even though it wasn't my choice, right? I wasn't in a place where I felt like I wanted to die. It was a horrible thing to go through. And in no way am I comparing my story to yours, because yours is yours alone. And I respect that. But I do want to say that I remember what that experience was like. And to have survived it now and be here, creating this video, knowing with so much gratitude all of the people that I've worked with that are still here, thank goodness. I think it's really amazing to see the way that our lives unfold. And from my perspective, what happened to me at 17 set me up to be the therapist and the person that I am today. So even though it was so sad and hard and scary and embarrassing and hard, I would not be who I am today without that struggle. And that's why I say that every single day we wake up, we get a do-over. And we do not know what our lives will look like in 5 months or 5 years. And the difference in your life will be so dramatic that I can almost guarantee you will not recognize it if you're willing to give it a chance to stay. And so I just beg of you that I'm telling you from my experience of being a teen, that your life can look very, very different and in ways that you will not be able to anticipate, which is really beautiful, actually. So one of my friends said they have a week-long series in their church or something. This is not religious, but she says their phraseology is that you get this one wild and precious life. And I think that's really what I would encourage you to do, is to think about what you will do with this one wild and precious life you've been given. And right now, when it doesn't feel like and that is okay, it's understandable, is to reach out to somebody who can hold your hand and hold on to you through the hardest parts to get you to the point where you will feel like why you're here. And that day will happen. And it might not happen for a little bit, right? I don't want to sell you. I say a shiny piece of shit, right? There's nothing worse than being lied to. And it might be a journey to get you to a place where you feel better, but it will be a journey that someone will help you with. And so I hope that you are willing to reach out and give it one more resource, one more time, one more check-in, one more therapist, one more person at school, one more month, just each time give yourself a marker. And hang on and give people a chance to hold you and support you through this, and know that things will not look anything like they do today in a little while. And it might be a minute, but I hope that you'll trust that. And I hope that you'll trust me a little bit, because I did this for a really long time. And like I said, I didn't have anybody come back and say they were sorry that they were still here. And rather, actually, they all came back and said how grateful they were that they could still be here and how different that their lives were. So I just wanted to leave you with those thoughts as we close in this incredible series that we've done on teen suicide. This is a passion of mine, and a passion for making sure that you know that there are people who love and care about you and who are willing to work to make sure you get what you need. So with that, I'm going to close the idea of, I would love to ask you that question. What can you do with this one wild and precious life? And see if there's somebody that can help you get that answer if you don't have it, or borrow their hope until you do.